So in this video, I'm going to tell you about 7 countries that you, as an American, can live in short term. So these are countries that you can live in probably anywhere from 4 months to a year. You obviously can live there longer. It's just easy to migrate there for a shorter period of time, a couple months. I've done this in many countries myself. I'm originally from the US, New York City represent, and I've lived right now in Australia here for 4 months, and I'm planning for it to be about 10 months of living here. So let's get right into the list then. At number 1, of course, is where I'm recording this video from, Australia. I'm currently in Sydney, Australia, and here there's a huge culture of backpackers and people coming from all over the world to live here and spend time for a year or more. You know, you get this visa called the working holiday visa that gives you 1 year basically where you can work a job for a maximum of 6 months, and you can work anywhere you want basically. You can work you can work a large variety of different types of jobs and you aren't limited. The only way you're limited is who's willing to hire you basically. Because a lot of companies want to have someone for a year or more, they tend to not look at you if you're a foreigner. But some companies, if you do express long-term interest, will be willing to hire you for that 6-month initial period, and then maybe can even sponsor your visa afterwards. Now, number 2, another country I also lived in, Israel. This is particular for me because I'm Jewish, but you also see in this country it has a large variety of programs, and they basically want people to move there. Especially if you're Jewish, they'll provide you with free trips there for 10 days, and then even after that, they can provide different programs to try to get you to make aliyah, which basically means migrating to Israel. And I'm sure even if you aren't Jewish and you really are interested in moving to Israel, there are programs that will allow you to do that. I'm just not particularly aware of them. I can do some more research there because I do have connections in those different programs. And if you really are interested in moving to Israel, you can reach out to the different organizations and see if they do have anything available for you. The third one is one of the few countries on this list that I've not ever been to, and that is Colombia. I have my friend Sean Hall, who's lived here for over a year, and he plans on actually moving back there for another year. And this country, it's really great because as an American, you're still in that US time zone. You're actually on East Coast time, so you still get to call family and friends. Unlike with me in Australia, where I really have to try to time out when I can call people back home. In Colombia, you have that US time zone, and one beautiful thing about it is you can actually learn the language there. You can learn Spanish, and Spanish is one of the most widely used languages in the world. So if you do move there and end up picking up some Espanol, you can use it in other places. Also, one great thing about this is they do have a hub for digital nomads called Medellin, where a lot of people come and they do remote work because they are still in that US time zone, and there is a cheaper cost of living. This is kind of one of the first countries on the list where it is cheaper to live here than in the US. Next, in a similar vein on the list, is number 4, which is Indonesia. I have been to Indonesia very briefly, more specifically in Bali, where a lot of people emigrate to live in short term. A lot of people younger go there, they tend to work remote, or they're starting their own companies, specifically in Bali, because they do get that great lifestyle where they can live at a fraction of the costs that they do in the US and still live a very luxurious lifestyle where they get the beaches, they get year-round great weather. It is getting more expensive, so I suggest if you do want to export, you export soon. Feel free to contact me. I have tons of friends there, and I'll be more than happy to connect you with them. Now, another one on the list, which depending on where you go can be more expensive, so it's the exact opposite, but it's in a whole other continent, is Spain. Spain is one of those great places where I've actually met a ton of people here in Australia who have moved to Spain for a year, and I have a lot of friends that go there because it is a cultural hub. Spain has one of the most richest cultures on earth, honestly, and oldest. And people go there, it's a huge party scene, there's lots of lovely land, it's overall pretty mild weather and great year-round, and people love it for that aspect as well. Now, for Spain, you can look into the different visas as an American. I have not lived there personally, but I do know people who have lived there for 6 to 8 month periods perfectly fine, and have worked jobs there, worked as surf instructors, which seems really fun. And especially if you are not in a major city, it is cheaper. But if you are in a major city like Barcelona, it can get quite expensive. Now, for number 6 on the list is Portugal. This is personally one of my favorite countries. I have plenty of friends that live in Lisbon, and it was an absolute epic time being able to connect with them there. Portugal also has one of those big digital nomad hubs where people go and work remote, start their own companies, and compared to the US, it is cheaper. That doesn't necessarily mean it is as cheap as other countries on this list, and to the Portuguese citizens themselves, they think everything's expensive, but when you do that US dollar conversion, you end up being able to live a pretty great life and at slightly lower costs than the US. Now, number 7, I've never been here. I have tons of friends from here. Shout out to all my Canadians. Number 7 is Canada. Seems to be a fairly easy jump if you do like a lot of skiing, if you like your real winter times, unlike me. I'm currently in a sleeveless right now because you know I love summer, but it is absolutely great to go there and easy to move to from the US, just back and forth. I have a lot of friends that go there for college. I have a lot of friends that their families have moved back and forth, and it seems to be perfectly fine. You don't need to learn French at all. However, if you do move to certain parts, you can pick up French. I need to get better at my French, so who knows, I might end up living there for a short period of time, but you can move there as an American relatively easy. It's because people tend to go back and forth. The industries are very, very similar. There's a lot of imports and exports between the two, and culturally, they're basically the same. That's what I find is very different about this one on the list, is you're kind of getting a similar culture there, which some people like. That's why I moved to Australia. I didn't want anything too different. I wanted to remain semi-similar. So, hopefully you did enjoy this video. Feel free to give it a like if you got some value out of this. If you're feeling like moving to one of these countries, comment which one down below. Also, feel free to subscribe for more travel content like this, and contact me at Talon in Color if you have any questions about any of these places, want to meet some of my friends in any of them, or at Escape Your Hometown, where you can see my travel adventures along with my friend Sean, who I mentioned before. And all my links are at hoo.be/Talon. Otherwise, I hope you have an amazing day. Feel free to check out this video over here, which is an epic travel vlog that I did with my friends. We were venturing in India, which is a great place to travel to if you want something drastically different than the US. See y'all.